Chris Cruzman with your weekly Thursday night injection of boxing talk, updates, and all-out arguments. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. It is Thursday night, May the 22nd, 2008. We are live from the Captain's Lounge, 651 in Hobart, at Golden Leaf, the finest cigar shop this side of anywhere. My partner in crime, Nestor Garza Romero. On my right, haven't had him, right next to us. Let's start this one all over. Let's go over.
Haven't had him in the building.
He has not been actually in the building in quite a number of weeks. I would venture to say months.
It's been about a month.
After a debilitating eye injury where some street thugs actually came and stole your corneas. We're just glad that you pulled through, and I'm glad that chimpanzee was able to come through for you. And, No, to actually donate them.
Yeah, that's
actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
And your eyes are better now, so you can enjoy the HD on your 72-inch TV. You don't need a 72-inch anymore.
I still don't see real well out of my left eye because I've got a contact in over to protect it from the sutures.
Close it.
But
just close that eye. You don't need that one.
yeah,
They got two. You
I got two. Yeah, what's the point?
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Actually, it's getting better. I'm hoping that the stitches will start coming out here in the next month or so. And but other than that, I'm still having trouble seeing. But it's better. I'm glad to be back here.
Does it irritate your eye at all?
No, because the contact lens is over the top of the sutures.
So it doesn't itch or anything?
No, it's a Band-Aid contact.
All right.
It's actually works pretty well. But
That's good that the stitches don't itch, because I'd hate to have to put that
yeah,
dome around your head.
Yeah, the cone around your head.
Make sure that you don't scratch them out.
It'd be just like Magellan.
Emil Sotopovinsky Kekabine on my left. What's up with you, man?
Not much, man.
Got to see your little boy quite a bit in the last couple of days, running back and forth, video cameras.
How is he?
He's doing real good.
Mason Kekabine.
Has a little bit of a cold right now. He's got a runny nose, but he's doing pretty good. Chris was over. We cooked out some food the other day. I cooked my first morel mushroom that I found finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Emil's doing shrooms now. He's graduated.
But Chris and I had a little cookout while he got all the material together to take to the Pacquiao Diaz press conference, and
which I'll be talking about in just a bit. But
yeah, we got that video up already on the YouTube. Had some problems with it. I might actually reload it on there so you can get the dividers on there. For some reason the video didn't record the whole thing, so
it's up there, and 130 people seem to think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's just freezing on our end somehow, so we'll have to reload it or something. But
yeah, well, I wrote the video last night when I went to bed, and usually it writes fine. For some reason it didn't write it correctly, so I'm gonna have to rewrite it.
That's right after you ate that mushroom. Probably.
Yep, yeah, probably. Drink those 4 beers.
Timber the producer Patterson on the left. You just heard a solid hour of the Tackling Dummies football show. If you're a fan worth your salt, you were listening for that last hour with marvelous Stephen Maravilla and, of course, Timmy the producer Patterson. Tim, what's going on with that show, and how are you doing? And I don't want to hear the word how.
I'm doing pretty good, man. The show's going good, just getting started here, so we'll see what happens. You can check us out at tacklingthedummies.com. We're on every week at 7 p.m. Central. This show starts at 8, so we go on an hour before you guys. As we get closer to the season, we'll be starting at 6 o'clock Central. We'll give you a full 2 hours of all your NFL needs. But I want to say hi out there to a new listener of ours, hitting us up on the Yahoo Instant Messenger, which is keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour. His name is Francisco Castillo. And Chris, he wants to know, is the fight between Margarito and Cotto still on for the 26th of July?
As far as I know, I see July 26th actually on my screen.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Is that what you just said?
I think that's what I said, but if not, that's what I meant.
If not,
to
that's
say.
what you meant. Yeah.
Yes.
As far as I know, July 26th is the date for that. That is the classic Mexican fighter taking on the classic Puerto Rican fighter. Not a whole lot of defense in that fight, just a lot of big wide swings. And that's
Cotto's got straight punches. He's not really wide though.
What do you want me to say, dude?
Power punching.
Incredible power. I mean, there's obviously going to be piles and piles of power shots. Yeah, I mean, between the two, Cotto's got more defense. He's only really fallen into a classic boxer setting in the last 3 or 4 fights.
Yeah.
He was wild early on. I'll give him his just due. He is becoming a better boxer. He's always had that power, and when boxing doesn't work, he falls back on that power to end a fight when he needs to. Margarito has power, but he's so wide open. Both of them are relatively easy to hit, I will tell you.
Margarito's a slow starter. That might not be good here against Cotto either.
If there's a time for Margarito to actually turn it on early, then this would be it. Nestor, what are your thoughts on that fight?
I'll tell you what.
Talk about the tension between Mexico and Puerto Rico for a second.
Yeah, that's... You got a lot of pride on both ends as far as the Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans. You're looking at a Mexican fighter who's just wired, and you got a country that's all the way behind him as well as with Puerto Rico. You got these two guys are just awesome fighters, but I agree with Emil. He better start early, because if Margarito doesn't, this fight will end early.
It's good
because Cotto's nothing but power.
Well, what Margarito lacks is chin.
Well, he's always had trouble with guys that have throw a lot of punches. He lost it to Paul Williams, and he had a lot of trouble with Clottey, who threw a lot of punches until he hurt his hand.
Joshua Clottey is still one of the most impressive fighters in that entire division, as far as I'm concerned.
If you stay really busy, that's the game plan basically against Margarito. But the problem is, Cotto is not like that.
Cotto is not a numbers fighter. He does not hide behind the county box to win fights.
You're not gonna see
Cotto throwing 100 punches.
100 punches around now. You won't see that.
50, 60. That's about what he throws.
Yeah, but and the thing with Cotto is he lands a good 35 to 40, maybe 50% of those 50 to 60 punches around.
Yeah.
I mean, he really lands them.
He's got a really great connect percentage.
Yes, he does.
But the thing is when he lands, though, they're so clean when he lands them because they're straight punches.
Right.
So he's not throwing
no
those.
wind up. Yeah, there's no from the boots or anything.
Yeah, there's no looping punch, so you can turn your shoulder in and turn your away from the power.
It's
you're
straight
getting
ahead.
caught.
Yeah, it's straight ahead.
And your bone. What stops it is bone breaking.
Well, that generally will deter one. When I'm looking at a picture of Chris Bird here, I guarantee he's got some problems, some facial problems. I got to hit these headlines here, guys. We could talk about Margarito and Cotto all night, but top story tonight: Chris Bird has not officially announced his retirement, but unofficially, we witnessed his retirement because he got dealt with in a serious manner on Friday Night Fights.
Yeah, his wife said that she's not going to be behind him if he goes back in the ring. She thinks it's time for him to retire. Comes in on those skinny legs. I think that was part of the problem. Those real thin legs that he has. Couldn't keep himself up. Dropping that weight.
Well, I mean, we talked about this last week. We can even go back and play the tape back. I'm pretty sure I said, when you have a gift at heavyweight that you're naturally smaller and you're naturally more mobile than these behemoths that you're fighting, why would you take away the one thing you've got going for you and lose all that weight and go down where everyone is your size, everyone is mobile, everyone is strong, and everyone's fast?
Yeah, we talked about this before, even when we were talking about the Klitschko's, how his biggest advantage is his height. And when he got down and started fighting at the shorter fighters' height, it made a difference. And now he's fighting at his own height, and you see the difference.
There is a difference
in his power and everything else. Nobody can hit him. And that's the thing with Bird is he was so quick and so agile at the heavyweight range. For him to go down to fight against other guys that are his size and just as mobile, I don't think he was as good as they were. I mean, he did real well in the heavyweights because he could hit and move before these other guys even considered hitting him.
Well, Sean George messed him over in a serious manner on Friday. Chris Bird got knocked down in the first round, and he got knocked down again in about the 8th or 9th, and real wiggly, very tough fight. And you know what? Everyone's going to be slamming Chris Bird, and before we go on, and I mean, we've got a lot more things we want to talk about before we get to the fights that got us through the week, but bottom line, no matter who, it doesn't matter how many times we say he shouldn't have moved down. He did not pick someone at light heavy that he could walk through. And you've got to know that. He chose someone, Sean George, who trains with the top fighters in the world. This is a guy who Tarver knew inside and out. Inside and out. Said, oh, this is not an easy fight for Chris Byrd.
Yeah, Sean Jones didn't come into this just as an opponent.
Sean George.
Sean, what did I say? Jones?
Sean Jones.
You said...
Or Sean John.
You said Roy Jones.
He
right
did. He
before
fought
that.
him.
Sean George, though, he came in this not thinking that he was an opponent. He knew he had a good chance of winning this fight. He knows Chris Byrd's dropping, what did he lose, 40 pounds?
It was more than 50.
That's just too much.
You go from 228 to 174 because he came in 1 pound under just to show that weight was not an issue.
And he didn't just lose fat. He lost muscle as well.
They showed
you know what? I could drop 50 pounds, and it really wouldn't make that much of a difference because I would be losing fat. When you're talking about a guy that's 228 and he's cut, Chris Byrd was not a slouch. I mean, you didn't see him with a big pooch belly, and we're not talking about James Toney.
I mean, he wasn't David Hay, but he wasn't Butterbean either.
No, yeah, exactly. But, you know, when you drop 50 pounds on a frame that doesn't have 50 pounds of fat on it, yeah, you're going to lose some muscle. And you're going to lose some speed because now you're losing that muscle, so your body has to compensate in other places.
And your age, with his age, it doesn't react at all.
You know, the weirdest thing was on him, they showed the tail of the tape when he was a heavyweight and the tail of the tape now as a light heavy. Guess, gentlemen, what was the one part that actually got bigger on him?
Amount of punches.
Calves. His calves got like 2 inches thicker.
Really?
Yes.
His
I
legs
was
look
blown
so
away.
skinny.
No, his calves.
Yeah, but
his thighs, of course, were much thinner. But his calves were 2 inches bigger than they were when he was a heavyweight.
A lot of that was probably for stamina. But
even a lot of running.
That's what I'm saying.
He's running 7, 8, 9, 10 miles an hour.
Even
Miles a day.
Maybe you went 10 miles an hour. Who knows?
Yeah, but
Today's Bowl of Punch Boxing are brought to you by Rogue Chocolate Stout.
No, but you know, you get a guy like that loses that kind of weight. You know, I really like Chris Byrd. He was a heck of a heavyweight.
He was always one of my favorite heavyweights. I defended him when no one would. I always loved him.
And you know, to see him in the situation was Friday night was just.
Yeah, it was kind of depressing.
It's a sad ending. Yeah. And I hope he retires.
Yeah, I certainly hope he doesn't want to come back and try to go out on a high note. At this point, let's just call it a day and move on. Because otherwise, you could end up getting hurt.
Yeah, that's what his wife basically said as well.
Moving on up, yesterday was the David Diaz Manny Pacquiao Chicago press conference that I was able to be part of. Talk about crazy. I mean, when Manny Pacquiao enters a room, it's like Elvis walked in. It was a very, very big deal. I mean, a much shorter, much more Filipino version of Elvis Presley. Yes. Not from Tupelo, Miss.
There's actually a nice picture of you on Cyber Boxing Zone with Manny, your painting that you did, and the guy with the big Pac-Man head.
There was a very interesting gentleman there with a Pac-Man helmet. And when I say Pac-Man, I mean 1982.
Pac-Man?
Yes. From the video game. It was a big ball on his head, essentially, that he opened up and stuck on his head. And Pac-Man's open mouth is where his face came out. You know, this guy's face. And Manny actually pulled me onto the stage to take a picture. And then I pulled...
That was really cool.
And then I pulled the Pac-Man onto the stage. So, because I had done a painting of Manny, and he immediately didn't want to sign it, which Tim can attest to this, is generally the response from fighters. David Tua did not want to.
I don't want to ruin that.
David Tua did not want to sign the painting, Tim. That I did of him.
Yeah, most of them just want to take it home with them.
Is that for me? No.
That's what he kept saying.
Well, he said you sell to me. You give to me. When I said, nah, I'm not going to sell to you. Well, then you give it to me. No, I'm not going to be giving it to you. But I did talk to his English-speaking manager. He's got a couple of guys that are referred to as manager. But the English-speaking one, I spoke to. I'm going to get an address where I can actually ship it.
Yeah, you actually gave him one of the prints of that.
Right off of your printer, your home printer. It was wonderful. So thank you again for that and all your help with getting the photos together and all that. Emil did an awesome job of getting all the getting photos up and the video up. There's a little glitch here, but it's not his fault. If anything, it was my fault. So we will see. We'll get it back up where you'll be able to see the whole thing. If you go on BoloPunchBoxingHour.com and you go on to Boxing News, which is the top left ticket, you can see a transcription that I wrote out yesterday of the entire press conference.
Yeah, and on the main page, as soon as you open it up, that video is right there on the player right at the top.
Yeah. Real quick, let's run through some more boxing headlines. Alexander Povetkin, who happens to be the IBF mandatory challenger for IBF, WBO, and IBO unified champion Vladimir Klitschko. He's got the green light. He gets the next fight against Klitschko, but Klitschko is going to be taking a little bit of time off to help his brother Vitaly train. So in the meantime, Povetkin is going to start training for his next fight. And listen to his two sparring partners. He's got DeVeril Williamson, who has gone for the title like 2-3 times. Definitely no slouch. And he's got Jamil Big Time McCline working him. So those are his two sparring partners. Wow. Tell me that's not impressive. You got two guys that have fought for the title, a combination of probably 5 times together.
Yeah, that's not a bad combination of sparring partners.
That's like Oscar having Floyd work him for a fight with Shane.
Yeah, or the other way,
Shane did work for him for Floyd. So it's just amazing how these fighters, bond together. And I'll help you beat that guy if you help me later beat this guy. And Oscar said, I'll definitely help Shane after I beat Floyd, because he didn't beat him, but he said, when I beat Floyd,
Shane's going to fight him again.
Shane's going to get next, and I'll help him train for that. He definitely said that.
I don't know how much he trains like Sam Judah. But
True. The state of Tennessee is going to get a boxing commission. One of the few states that was left that didn't have a boxing commission. It had to do with whoever was pretty much running the show. Unified United States of America boxing rules. Now they're going to have their own commission, so they can have their own set of rules, which will sadly, even though this is a positive, it's probably going to be grossly different than Nevada or any other state.
I don't know. Most of the states follow Nevada and New York are the two big states that they follow. I mean, Nevada actually took a lot of their rules from New York, so I mean those are the two.
Hopefully, you're right. I'm just saying. A lot of we were just talking last week about what coagulants are allowed in what state.
Nobody knows.
Tennessee might say only moonshine allowed in the corner. It went with an overwhelming vote of 30-0, so everyone is on board in Tennessee as far as the voters go. And this just in, the next bill to go across the table in Tennessee is indoor plumbing.
We've just lost 3 listeners. Thanks, Chris.
Well, then no one's listening.
It would be more, but them guys down there don't know how to use a computer.
Yeah, well, you just said them guys, so...
Just to let you know, please send your comments.
Your hate mail to Chuck Gabriel. Iron Mike Tyson. His next team up is going to be with the Material Girl herself, and I'm talking about Madonna. They are going to be doing a lot of charity work for impoverished children of Malawi, which is an African territory. They're going to be working together with AIDS-infected children that are born with HIV and AIDS. So, what in the world Madonna needs Tyson for in order to do this? He is a media circus.
And
he gets attention.
I know he doesn't have much money left from him being the champion for all those years, but like you said, he's going to bring a media circus in. He's going to bring a lot of attention to this, and he'll probably get some money brought in because of it.
Oh, you're right about that.
It's good to see him actually doing something positive, though, after you hear all the negative stuff he's done.
It is. And a related story, in Cannes, France, at the Cannes International Film Festival, Mike Tyson touches on his childhood and the trainer that got him to the championship, late trainer and pro Hall of Famer, Customato. The Cannes Film Festival, they just showed the Tyson documentary. It's simply called Tyson, and he lays it all on the table. This is where we're finally going to get to hear what was going through this dude's head when he bit Evander, when he did this, when he did that, when he bit Lennox Lewis at the press conference, when he his problems with Desiree Washington.
Well, he explained the Evander Holyfield ear thing. He said it was because Evander kept headbutting him.
That's what he said right after the fight.
Yeah, he continued to follow me, so he's trying to take my living away from him. I'm gonna take it away from, I'm gonna fight back and take it back away from him. So
he's obviously very candid in this, and he was there at the premiere, and he was signing autographs for hours. They took his picture. They loved him. They cheered for him. He said that was the first standing ovation that he'd gotten in years, because he's always portrayed as the devil and the evil one. So it was interesting for him to be cheered for anything. So he
and the
he loved it.
Numbers of years. I can't think of the word. It's been a while since he's been he's actually been cheered. So
yes, you know what? The guy was always regarded as the evil one, and I understand that. But
there is a reason.
That's the aura that he put on himself, and now he's trying to make amends for it. As far as he's explaining his life and explaining why he did what he did, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hope that they actually put it out somewhere where we can all see it, as opposed to just being a.
Hopefully they put it in Maryville at midnight.
Yeah. I don't think
on a Saturday.
I want it on a DVD.
I know that you do. And really quick, I hate to bring this up, but there's another black eye to the sport. A Japan-based Chinese boxer named Cho Hee. He was 5-6 and 4 knockouts. Passed away on Sunday in Tokyo, Japan, because of a brain injury suffered in his previous bout 15 days prior on May 3rd. They went in to try to remove blood clots at the GK Medical Hospital in Japan, and this was after he was constantly passing out. Joe actually was doing pretty well in the fight. He ended up losing the fight, but everyone that was there watching that fight live went away, got in their cars, and drove home thinking that fight got stopped early. That guy was still okay. 2 weeks later, he's gone.
Yeah, and makes you take a second look at Joe Macy and
this will be brought up. This particular fight will be brought up for years and years to come. They thought he was fine. He passed every physical, went home and died. So
well, I understand that you have to make a living, and I realize that, but your living should not cost you your life. And it's unfortunate. We have livings. There's people making their livings that cost them, that they put their lives in danger every day. But when you're doing a sport, it shouldn't cost you your life.
No, and I mean it's happened. I mean Edwin Valero. We're going to hear a lot about him really soon, because if Manny Pacquiao beats David Diaz, that's basically the guy they're going to be talking about him. He should fight. So, I mean, and he had the same thing. He's not commissioned. He's got, his first fight in the United States since he's had that bleeding on the brain.
Yeah.
So, that's who's going to be coming up with Pacquiao. So, he's got the same problems coming up. There's going to be a lot of talk about that.
Now, as a fighter, can you refuse to fight somebody like that? I mean, let's face it. If I
can always refuse.
If I'm Manny Pacquiao, and I know this guy's got this issue, do I really want his blood on my hands?
Absolutely not.
I mean, that's what I'm.
You can say no. I will not fight that man. Of course.
It's the boxing commission's job, though, to make sure that you're not forced to fight that guy.
It is their job. But that's a problem with mandatories. I could see someone just saying, "Well, then fine, take my belt. Take my belt. I am not fighting that guy."
Yeah, because you know what? I don't care how much what people say and everything else. I mean, it really takes a toll on a fighter to know that it was your hands. It was your hands that caused a man to lose his life, because these people aren't, people look at him and go, well, these guys are just basically trained killers. They're just out there beating each other up. But nobody wants to kill anyone. I mean, it's
obviously,
it's human nature not to want to, you want to inflict pain. You don't want to inflict death.
True. Real quick, let's hit the Yahoo Answers. This has become one of our more popular things. Tim, you got something over there?
I got a couple things I want to mention before you go to break, Chris.
I'm sorry.
Our message board that we use is called Boxing Today. They are trying to get everybody on Tuesday nights at 8:30 to get on at the same time and chat it up a little bit. So
that sounds cool.
If you want to get on and check that out, is at Tuesday nights, check it out at boxingtoday.com. If you want to check it out, just go to our message board.
There's a link right off our page.
It'll go right to it. And the other thing I want to get down there is, since our instant messenger is burning up, our good buddy there, Pete Perry, his grandson Caleb is autistic, and they got a website devoted to raising attention to autism, and it is called Caleb'sEyes.com. That is CalebsEyes.com. So check that out, and hopefully they raise some money and raise some awareness, and hopefully eventually come up with a cure there, Chris.
I've been on that website. It's a beautiful website, and a hell of a cause at that. How you doing, Pete Perry? It's always good to hear from all of our old friends. Yahoo Answers. Every week I go on and I pick out the 3 questions that are the most silly, and I come up and I read off the most idiotic of all the answers that were given. Number 1, John L. Sullivan taking on Kimbo Slice. Who would have won? First guy says Kimbo. Second guy says Sullivan. Third guy says, isn't Sullivan dead? Of course Kimbo could beat a dead guy. Right, that gets the Idiot of the Night award right there. And number 4 says Sullivan could down a quart of whiskey and still smoke Kimbo. So that's good. That's good. That means the first real recognized American heavyweight champion.
Was a drunk.
Well, he definitely was. He definitely was a drunk, but he could smoke this guy Kimbo that they're talking about with a quart of whiskey in him.
Kimbo was actually in the quarter of James Kirkland, I believe it was, this weekend.
That is impressive in itself, because that is a scary dude.
Oh my God, is he frightening?
That's a scary dude. Number 2, Joe Frazier versus you. Of course, I had to click on this just to see what the description was. If you had Joe Frazier in front of you in his prime for $5,000, would you go 5 minutes with him?
Nope.
First guy says, no way I would step in the ring with Joe Frazier. I'm not about to make an ESPN highlight blooper reel at the expense of my own health. I'd be considered a light heavyweight, and I even have some fighting experience, but I wouldn't even fight a middleweight pro like Marvin Hagler for a mere $5,000. Second guy says, 1 punch from a heavyweight boxer in his prime would kill the average man. So there wouldn't be much point in doing it, since you'd never be able to collect the $5,000. One guy says, I would just roll a joint and hope he got the nickname Smoking Joe for a different reason. But my favorite one, and the one that would actually apply most to me, I would probably sprain my ankle running from him. And the most popular of all of them, who would win in a fight between King Hippo and Butterbean? Now, for those of you that don't know, King Hippo is from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and actually from the original game known as Punch-Out. But he was most popular on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. First guy says Butterbean, of course. Second guy says, well, King Hippo, because he's not real, so he can beat anyone. There was some good logic there. And the third guy says, it doesn't matter, Slota Popinski would whoop both of them. That is an Emil tribute if I've ever heard one. Let's take our first...
People logging in there, I'll tell you what.
Let's take our first break of the night. We'll be right back with all the fights that got us through the week. This is your Thursday Night Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance, www.hssp.ccsportsjuice.com.